Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to be breaking down this 7-game slate Monday in the NBA. So we've gotten the good slates back. We had a bunch of 3-game and 11-game slates. And now we get the 6-game on Thursday. We had a 7-game on Friday, 8-game Saturday, 7-game slate once again. My name is Sal. If this is your first time here, welcome to the channel. I cover daily fantasy sports in the NFL, what is now the NBA, and what will be the MLB streets. My whole goal here is to give you overwhelming value, just give you all the information that you need early in the mornings. The injury news right here will go into the target offense sheet, which a lot of people have been asking how you can get that. If you join the Discord, which is totally free, link down below, you can get that. And then I'll go over some early interests on the day. Again, those are only early interests. They're going to be changing throughout the day based on injury news, based on how the slate starts to shape, based on lineup construction as well. So like we always do, we'll start with the injury news. I have a couple of things just to plug and a couple of things just to go over. First of all, I would like to go over the Patreon page. This is where you can get my daily projections if you want to quickly jump to see what those look like. They are not filled out yet because I have not done minute projections, but you get all this information right here. Just all my data, all the stuff that I use in the mornings throughout the day. I update it based on the minutes projections, based on injury news, get projected points, projected value. I'll be adding some more features. You can get those over on Patreon. So you can get FanDuel or Draftkings or both if you want. I also do coaching calls you can get over on Patreon. The reason I made the Patreon page is just another way for me to try and eliminate some student debt so I can do this full time. So that's just full disclosure. The next thing that I would like to shout out is the Discord. So we can quickly hop over there. So the Discord is just a group texting app. You can either get it on your phone or on the laptop. And yeah, this is where we just talk all night. See 50 messages since midnight. I haven't been talking. There's 212 people. Okay, now that's crazy. So I don't know if people have been inviting people. People have been actually joining from YouTube and the Facebook group. But you can also join the Facebook group with the Discord where you'll get more activity throughout the day. Yeah, we had 150 like 2 days ago. Now we have 212. So definitely join over there. And yeah, that's about it. So if you want to head up to Discord, it's totally free. There's free channels for a bunch of different sports. There's help to get integrated with Twitch and Patreon. And there's the paid channels for the people who pay on Patreon. Also, Twitch is where I stream live. Not streaming this week as I'm traveling, but I stream live on Twitch throughout the day. These emails always pop up. So you can head over there as well. It's a live streaming platform. It's just better for overall streaming. That's linked down below. Everything you see here is linked down below for projections, Discord, and all of that. So let's start out on injury news like we usually do. So for a 7-game slate, I would say as of right now, there's not a ton of injury news. For the most part, it's news that we would expect or that we didn't see anything coming from the night before. Again, this is Central Time right now. I'm shooting at 8 a.m., 7:30 a.m., so I could have missed something or some things might come out throughout the day. So depending on when you're watching this, if you're watching later in the day, there's definitely going to be additions. Some things will be more stable on this list, and there's going to be some things that I don't have. So TJ Warren has been out for a month or so now, maybe more. That's still going to affect the same guys in this Phoenix rotation that has been getting thrown around a little bit. We have Josh Jackson, whose minutes have been coming down. Kelly Oubre, who has been seeing more stable minutes. And Mikal Bridges, who cheaper option on DFS, nothing great. You could also throw in Dragon Bender in there. He's been starting at the 4 as of late. Josh Jackson hasn't been getting starts here and there, hasn't been getting a lot of minutes. So that's where I would say that comes in. Trevion Graham, doubtful. No real impact here. Graham, though, has started a couple of times, so maybe I should put some impacted players. Spencer Dinwiddie has been back there. I don't see them going small with Dinwiddie, Russell, guards heavy with Dinwiddie, Russell, and LeVert. Although LeVert can start at the 3, we might be able to see Dinwiddie slide over to the 2 if that's what they wanted to do. I guess this does impact Hollis Jefferson, Rondé Hollis Jefferson, who has been seeing kind of zeros in some games. He got a couple minutes in the past few games, but they really don't want to get him active. You're going to see Corkus. He should be getting some more starts or some more playing time and potentially the start here, as Graham has been, I believe, starting at the 4. Hassan Whiteside and Dragic questionable for the Heat. Hassan Whiteside's the bigger one, I would say, although the Heat are playing Atlanta today. So for this guard upside in terms of Justice Winslow playing the point, Dion Waiters getting to start the 2, Dwayne Wade seeing more minutes if Goran is out, the Dragon is out. Then yeah, against Atlanta, you want to attack these guards. We saw last night Chris Dunn had a 35-point game at 5.5K pricing on DK. He's 6X, almost 7X. So yeah, that's actually big news. If Dragic is out, you're going to get more trust out of Justice Winslow at the point, more trust out of Dion Waiters at the 2. Hassan Whiteside, if he's out, it's just the Bam show again. Bam's only priced up to $5,600. His price only went up $400. So yeah, you're going to be getting the Bam show there. I would continue to play Bam. The man went for 42 and pretty much 3/4 because he became a blowout. Solid option. You're only $5,600 still if Whiteside does remain out. Bryn Forbes is now probable, so Derek White saw his minutes increase a tad bit. Those are going to now go down to right around 30 instead of 32. Raul Neto, he's out, and the reason there's some impact here is because he's the backup point guard. There's no Dante Exum. Ricky Rubio will get his minutes secured, and then you're going to see Donovan Mitchell and Joe Ingles when Rubio's off the court and those guys are on, split up the point guard minutes, which is big for Joe Ingles if he sees increased point guard run. Just more assist upside for a guy who's mainly a shooter. Anthony Davis is questionable, so this saga continues. Now he has an illness. Man just keeps on dealing with some injuries. So yeah, Julius Randle, Jahlil Okafor, Drew Holiday, all guys who will benefit from this. If Julius Randle starts at the 5, it's much better for him. The reason being, if you're at the 5, you have easier shot attempts, you have more block upside, more rebound upside, double-doubles. For Milwaukee, a lot of guys here, so it's mainly the guards. George Hill remains out. Malcolm Brogdon is now probable, and so is Eric Bledsoe, as Eric Bledsoe got late scratched last game. Another thing to note is that Isaiah Cannon, another point guard on this team, he got let go last game. He was released by the Bucks. So without George Hill there, without Dante Devisovic or whatever his name is, Malcolm Brogdon is now the primary backup point guard, and he will probably be starting at shooting guard. So you have to like that. DeAndre Jordan is now questionable. This is going to affect Mitchell Robinson, who once again had a block party, who once again went for over 40 Draftkings points at only 5,400 on the slate yesterday. It's also going to affect Noah Vonleh, who has been getting the starts, but he's sort of just like a filler starter until Mitchell Robinson sees the court. If DeAndre Jordan is out, it's going to affect Mitchell Robinson in a big way because he's going to become a much better play. If DeAndre Jordan is in, especially against Sacramento, kind of murkies the water here with all these bigs, and even at $6,000, I don't know if I really want to touch it. So before we move over to the target offense sheet, quickly want to slide over to Draft Dashboard. They'll be sponsoring today's video. So Draft Dashboard, it helps you reduce your research time. It's a dashboard similar to my projections, where you just have a bunch of data in one spot. But what you can do with Draft Dashboard, so say you like Donovan Mitchell, say you like Luka today, you can star them right here. You get all their data here. They'll have ownerships later, projections later in the day. And then you go over to watch players list, and there's your watch players. These are from yesterday. This was yesterday's example. So you have watch players. You could add up a list. It's pretty much your player pool. You should be having on Draftkings anywhere from 30-ish to 40-ish players. On FanDuel, a little bit more, maybe 40 to 50, even upwards of 60 in your player pool if you're playing a lot of lineups. Reason being more on FanDuel is because you have that drop score, so you can be a little bit more risky. So then you can go in there, you can build a lineup with their lineup optimizer, get some ideas of what your lineup can look like based on your player pool. And then you have your NBA cheat sheet. It just helps you look at the day at a quick glance. I would recommend looking at this, but maybe looking at your own data first, so you don't kind of get swayed with this information. See if it aligns with your data, and if it does, and if it aligns with your plays, then you feel a little bit more confident about it. But don't look at this first, because then you're going to get a lot of recency bias. It's at least what I would say personally. But I use it mainly just for lineup construction, just getting ideas in terms of what the data looks like. And this is really my favorite part, is just all the data here. Helps me kind of cross-reference and baseline with my own projections. So that's Draft Dashboard. Let's move over now to the target offense sheet. So 7 games today, the target offense sheet, which has been a pretty big hit. I had a lot of people reaching out asking about the target offense sheet, where they can get it, where I get it. I personally make this sheet myself. It comes from a lot of different things. So I mean, if I want to quickly just show you offense and opponent, these get pulled from my Vegas dashboard, which I create a Vegas dashboard right here. Vegas dashboard, it pulls automatically once a certain websites that I pull from update. It pulls into this, which then pulls into the target offense sheet. Projected pace rank, I pull those from NBA Wowie, Hollinger Stats, NBA Advanced. I kind of get averages of everything. Then I create my own projected pace formula, which just averages the two, but also takes into account the league average to see if it's a better or pace up or pace down spot. Projected totals are from the Vegas dashboard. A lot of people asking where the DraftKings points. So this is defense in terms of how they defend the position over the last 30 days in terms of DraftKings points allowed. So in terms of this, I pull this from, I'm just quickly showing this because a lot of people have been asking on Twitter. I pull this from my own DVP charts that I make. I get these pulled from the internet. I update them once every few days because DVP doesn't really update that much, especially since teams only play once every few days, once every 2-3 days. So I usually update them every 3 days to a week. And then I take the average. So yeah, this is just where I pull from. Then it all pulls over the player projections to the target offense sheet, fantasy points allowed over the last 30 days. So let's look at a couple things here. And we can start with just understanding for the new people. And once again, if you're here, just understand there's new people coming every single day. Pace is just possessions per game. The more possessions means the more times a team has the ball on offense. This is per team as well. It's not just overall game is 97. That's per team. This is how they rank overall. So you can see they're getting 100.8 on the season. Normally Miami, and the projected game pace for this game is actually lower, and that's because Miami is going to be pulling this one down. The opponent here is Miami. That's projected game pace. Actually, I want to make sure this is pulling correctly. Yeah, so this is pulling from pace, which if we have the pace here, and this is always going to constantly update. If we have Miami's pace, which is, just want to make sure it updates. You have 108, and then you have Atlanta's pace, which is 106. So abbreviation, we're getting Atlanta here, and then this should be that. So we just had a pulling mistake there. So yeah, now it should pull all over. So yeah, see the data, I mean, at all times, I just want to make sure it's right. And now you get the pace being up. So it was at 98, now it's at 104 because it was improperly pulling as Cleveland. It's pulling as Atlanta now. So you can see here the pace is now the second highest pace spot on the day, only behind, or actually the third highest or fourth highest, only behind a couple of games by one possession. You can see Sacramento's a very pace-up spot with New York. Right here, you can see that Utah and New Orleans is a pace-up spot, which Utah has been playing a much faster pace as of late. New Orleans has been playing at a fast pace all year out there. And then Brooklyn and Dallas is a significant pace-up spot today, and I just want to double-check that one as well to make sure that we're looking good on pace there. So it has Brooklyn and Dallas. Yeah, all the abbreviations should be going as planned here. So San Antonio, we have Denver. This is San Antonio. We have Portland, we have Toronto, we have Philly, New Orleans, Portland, Boston, LA Clippers, Minnesota, Charlotte, Washington, Indiana, OKC, Sacramento, Utah, Brooklyn. Bear with me as we just fix this. There's just a couple that are off here. So we have Orlando, Miami, Atlanta, Cleveland, Phoenix, New York, Memphis, Chicago. Perfect. Cool. Yes, I'm traveling, so usually I update those once every 2 days. Haven't updated them like a day or two, so just want to make sure they're all right. So now we have a more true picture, and this is what you're going to get. You're going to get LAC. The Lakers have now the highest projected pace, so now just changing those to update them for what the websites are looking like. Highest projected pace by a good amount. Anytime you're over 106, anytime you're approaching 110, it's a very high pace. So you can see the Lakers and Clippers squares up to be a nice matchup. Now in terms of what the total looks like, it's the highest total on the slate by far, by about 7 points. So that makes a lot of sense. Usually when you have the highest pace, you have the highest totals. Breaking into this a little more, the best spots in that specific game. Well, the Lakers at the center position against the Clippers is just a dominating spot all year. We've seen Kyle Kuzma, a number 4 or even a number 3 on some nights, small forward, power forward eligibility, getting the start at center. Now, he hasn't fared as well as we would like, but if he continues to get the start at center, you just like that. He's going to get his starting minutes no matter what, especially more easier rebounds against a team like the Clippers. Also the power forward spot there, so whoever starts at the 4 for this team, also going to be interesting to me. Just teams that could rebound or players that could rebound, because against the Clippers, it's just going to be a free-for-all in rebounding. Some other spots that have nice spots. So Atlanta, obviously, we're going to be targeting the guards here. You can target really every single person on Miami tonight. It's just usually hard. If we get some injury news that rule out a guy like Whiteside against Atlanta, it's not the greatest of matchups, especially if Lens begins to start a little bit more, but Bam's price is good enough. And then in terms of just targeting some other games, you can see here, anywhere that's green is nice. So the power forward spots for Brooklyn, which is really not a great spot at all, and Dallas, which is really not a great spot at all, are right there, just in terms of players trying to plug in there. Center position for Dallas and Brooklyn. So Brooklyn defends the center position really bad. We already know that. Dallas, Powell's been playing great. He's still only 5,200. We're going to see on my early interest that he's a guy that I like. Yeah. So this is just a target offense page. It will be in the Discord, so make sure you hit up the Discord here. And again, if you want the projections, you can get them right over here on Patreon. So let's quickly just glance over early projections, or just what I'm looking at early on. So let's do this, and let's do this. So some of the opponents won't pop, but that's absolutely fine. It's not going to change much. So we have Bam here at 5,600. Price only comes up $400 after going for 40 plus Draftkings points in 3 quarters. Absolutely ridiculous. If Whiteside's out, he's obviously an interest of mine. If Whiteside's in, I'd be a little bit more interested in Whiteside, but not so much. Randall, if he starts at the 5, I'm interested. Otherwise, I'm not so interested at $8,200 against Utah. If he starts at the 5 against Gobert, sure, it's a scary matchup, but starting at the 5 is much better than the 4 in any offense. We talked about the guards against Atlanta. Justice Winslow should be at the point if Dragic is out. Josh Richardson will also be a good matchup at the 2, potentially the 3 if we still get Waiters starting at the 2. Dion Waiters will also be an interest of mine if we do get news that Dragic is out. I'll throw Dion Waiters on the list. Dwight Powell, 5,200. Guy's price doesn't change, and he saw limited run, and he got, 30 plus fantasy points in a blowout where he saw probably 5 less minutes than he should have. Brook Lopez at 5,500 just has a great matchup today. Not a guy that I usually like to try and target and go after, but he has a good matchup today, and we can go off to the target offense page where it says Milwaukee right here. Their matchup against Phoenix is the second best on the slate, only behind a very bad Clippers against the position. So I never really like to get to Brook Lopez. But if he has a game at 5,500, he doesn't have to get you much. Malcolm Brogdon's back. I like him because he's going to get more secure backup point guard minutes for when Eric Bledsoe's off the court because Isaiah Cannon is out, George Hill is out. So yeah, I like that a lot. At the price of 5,900, I think it's fine. Here's an interesting one. So the Knicks all year long have been having trouble defending the three-point line. They're having trouble defending shooting guards in general. Well, Buddy Hield's one of the best, or takes the most three-pointers a game. He's actually really good at it as well. He's a pretty good shooting guard. So it's $7,000 though. His price has now come up where it's not in the mid 6K range. Now he has to get you 35 points for you to feel good. $7,000, I'm not sure I can get there, but it's a very good matchup on a 7-game slate. Definitely going to be trying to, depending on lineup construction, still have to see. Dennis Smith Jr. at $6,000. I think this is a very good matchup against Sacramento. Pace up spot for Smith Jr. Price has now come down to a place where you feel comfortable playing the risky Dennis Smith Jr. He's not $6,700. He's not $7,000 anymore. I like to buy low in these situations, and I like to buy low on Dennis Smith, a guy who, even in cash, I feel comfortable with at $6,000 as of now. Kyle Kuzma at $6,200. Yeah, his price is just continuing to come down as well. He was around $6,400. Now he's $6,200 against the Clippers. If he starts at the 5, I love this. He's not a standard typical 5, so it's not like he'll get those extra blocks, but he'll get those extra rebounds. He'll get the extra double-double upside. Easier shots. I like Kyle Kuzma. Rajon Rondo, price just doesn't come up. Yeah, he had a comeback to earth game in his last game, but he still had a good game. $5,500 against this exact same Clippers team. I'm not worrying about it. A little bit of a harder matchup for Rondo in this one, but look, if he's starting at the point, Lonzo Ball's still out. That's the lineup I imagine happening today once again. Rondo at the point, Kuzma at the 5. I like him at that price of $5,500, getting as many point guards in my lineup as I can. Landry Shamet. So here's an interest. I don't think I get there, but he's had real 20 points in 2 games now back-to-back real points, so more fantasy points than that. $4,000, he's going to be starting at the small forward position, which has been a position that has had a lot of success against this Lakers team. He's starting at the small forward, but he's really a shooting guard, so he gives you that extra rebounding upside for a guy who can still pull the trigger. $4,000, it's something to look at. LeBron is a spot that I like to pay up for. As of right now on this slate, between him and Giannis is how a lot of decisions will have to be made in paying up, like we had a couple nights ago. I do like LeBron over Giannis just because minute security with LeBron is there, and I think I like the matchup a little bit more. Rudy Gobert at $7,900 against New Orleans is a great matchup, especially if Anthony Davis sits. Not much more I have to say there. And then we already talked about Dion Waiters. So, this is more of a quicker video because I'm traveling. I'm going to be going hiking today, so it should be pretty fun, actually. So, this is the injury dashboard. I'll leave it with you guys. Projections will be out. Once again, check out Draft Dashboard. You can check out the NBA cheat sheet, their projection sheet right here. Hit up the Discord. It's totally free. Right now, stop and go down below. Hit up the Discord. People are already waking up typing in there. And the Patreon is for the projections if that's what you guys want. Once again, this is the projection sheet. It will be filled out momentarily. Thank you guys so much. My name's Sal. You already know that. Peace out, gang.